Assalamu alaikum. Today in this video we will discuss the bone matrix and the vitamin D. Bone is composed of a tough organic matrix that is greatly strengthened by deposits of calcium salts. So basically bone is made up of two things, bone matrix and the salts. The ratio between these two parts are 30 and 70%. That is 30% is the matrix and 70% is the salts. But you must remember that newly formed bone has a higher percentage of matrix than salts. So this percentage is not fixed. As the bone become older, there will be more deposition of the salt, so their percentage changes. To understand the structure of the bone, now we will study these two important parts separately, that is the matrix and the salt. How the matrix develop and how the salts deposited. As far as the organic matrix of the bone is concerned, the organic matrix of the bone is 90 to 95% is the collagen fiber, which is embedded in the ground substance. So basically these are the collagen fibers and they are embedded in a specific ground substance or gelatinous medium, which is called the ground substance. And the second part of the bone, that is the bone salts. The crystalline salts deposited in the organic matrix of the bone are composed principally of calcium and phosphate. And the major crystalline form that is called the hydroxyapatite. But we must remember that magnesium, sodium, potassium and carbonate ions, they are also present among the bone salts. But the major form is the hydroxyapatite. The collagen fibers and the crystalline salts together give the bony structure steam, tensile and compression strength. The collagen fibers, like those of the tendons, have great tensile strength, whereas the calcium salt, they are separately giving the strength. So when they combine together, they give not only the tensile strength but also the compressional strength. One question arises, as I have told you that hydroxyapatite is the major crystalline form of these salts. And these salts, they are also present in the extracellular compartment. Why they do not combine and into form the crystalline form there? Why they don't precipitate in the extracellular compartment? And the answer is that at that place the presence of inhibitor provides the inhibition of the precipitation of these salts. So the inhibitors are present in almost all of the tissues of the body as well as in the plasma, and then these inhibitors, they are going to prevent this type of the precipitation. And regarding the hydroxyapatite, we have the inhibitor which is named as pyrophosphate. So because of this inhibitor, they are not precipitate there. As far as the bone calcification is concerned, regarding the bone calcification, the first step is the secretion of collagen molecules and the ground substance. So initially the collagen molecules and ground substance by the osteoblast that is formed. Then after the polymerization of these, the newly formed bone, that is the osteoid, is formed, in which some of the osteoblasts, they are also present and they are called osteocytes. Now I will show you one best picture through which I will explain these things in more detail. From this picture you can see the osteoblasts which are lining. These are the osteoblasts, and they are lining. Firstly, they form the collagen fiber and the ground substance and the newly formed bone that is called the osteoid. And these are the osteocytes which are entrapped in newly formed bone. This is the bone matrix. And the osteoclasts, they are also present here, which are somewhat larger in size. And what are these? These are actually larger phagocytic multinucleated cells, and they are actually derivatives of the monocytes or monocyte-like cells formed in the bone marrow. After that, the calcium salts, they are deposited in this, and the initial calcium salts are not hydroxyapatite crystal but are the amorphous compound, and with the further process occurring within weeks and months, more and more these amorphous salts, they are converted into the actually hydroxyapatite crystals. But what is the importance of these amorphous compounds? One thing that is they are going to convert it into the hydroxyapatite crystal, and the second thing that some of these salts they remain there, and this is the amorphous salts which are actually they can be absorbed rapidly when there is need for extra calcium in the extracellular fluid. So this is the portion which is going to have the buffer action, and it can be exchanged from the bone to the extracellular compartment and from the extracellular compartment to the bone again. That is the calcium exchange between the bone and the extracellular compartment. As I have already told you that these are the amorphous portion of the salts which remains as such. Most of them they are precipitated to form the hydroxyapatite, but some of them they remains as such, and this is the exchangeable calcium provides a buffering mechanism to keep the calcium ion concentration in the extracellular fluid compartment from rising to excessive levels or falling to levels. So whenever it is observed, whenever the excessive plasma concentration of calcium is there, excessive is absorbed into the bone, and once its level decreases in the plasma, it can these amorphous form of the salt they can give the calcium to the plasma when its level fall to low levels. How the remodeling of the bone take place? Mainly, it is taken up by the two processes that are the deposition and the absorption. And the balance between these two processes can give rise the process of the remodeling of the bone. Actually, the deposition of the bone is taken up by the osteoblast, while the absorption process that is taken up by the osteoclast. These osteoblasts, as I have already shown you, they are lining the bone cells, and from this picture you can see the osteoblasts, tiny cells, while the osteoclasts they are comparatively larger. You can see these larger cells. This is the animation to show the compared bone remodeling, and in this animation I am going to show you two views, longitudinal and transverse, and the key of this animation is shown above, that is the osteoclasts they are pink while the osteoblasts they are blue, and the bone lamellae that is grey. Osteocytes within the lamellae are not shown here. You can see how the osteoblasts they are going to form the newly formed bone. Once it is formed, Now, the vascularization of the new system that develops with the new innervation. So, in this way, the remodeling of the bone that take place. What is the importance of that one? Bone can adjust its strength in proportion to the degree of bone strength. The shape of the bone can be rearranged for proper support of mechanical forces by deposition and absorption of bone in accordance with the stress pattern. When old bone becomes brittle and weak, new organic matrix is laid down and normal toughness of the bone is maintained. So this remodeling of the bone that is very much necessary to have its normal shape and strength. Now, after some introduction of the bone, now we come to the vitamin D, that is the second part of this video. Several compounds derived from the sterol belong to vitamin D family. How the vitamin D that is formed? For that I want to show you this picture showing the ultraviolet rays, and from the skin, that is the pre-D3 that is formed with the warmth vitamin D3 that is formed, which comes to the liver, to the plasma, to form the 25 hydroxycholecalciferol. When exposed to ultraviolet rays, provitamin D held within the cell membrane. Now it is converted very rapidly to previtamin D3. The peak production is at 297, as you can see from this animation. Pre-vitamin D3 is then transformed by a rearrangement of atoms in the molecule slowly in warm skin over 1 to 2 hours to vitamin D3. You can see this vitamin D3 is released from the skin cell membrane and is taken up by vitamin D binding protein and into the plasma. This one. It is thus carried in the bloodstream from the skin to the liver, and where it is converted, hydrolyzed and hydroxylation take place, and it is converted into 25 hydroxy vitamin D3. This is a very simple picture to show this process, that after your skin gets sunlight, the vitamin D3 is formed reaching to the liver, but you must remember that we can achieve this vitamin D3 from the dietary source also, which includes fish, meat and supplements. From the liver, 25 hydroxy vitamin D3 is formed, and then in the kidney 125 dihydroxy vitamin D3 that is actually formed, which is the activated form, and it maintains the calcium balance in our body. This is the complete formation of the not only the vitamin D3, but in this picture I am going to show the role of the parathyroid hormone also. Once it is formed, that is the active form of the vitamin D3, it is going to check the balance of the calcium and maintain the plasma calcium level. This is much more detailed picture of the vitamin D, how it is formed from the sunlight and also from the fish and the other supplements, then conversion in the liver, reaching to the kidney, and finally we got the 125 cholecalciferol, or the active form of the vitamin D3, which is going to control the mainly the calcium level in the plasma. What are the actions of the vitamin D? It promotes intestinal calcium absorption. I have already showed this thing. And the role of the calpinins in the intestinal epithelial cells. It also promotes the phosphate absorption into the intestine and decreases the renal calcium and phosphate excretion. So we can say on the whole it is going to control the calcium and phosphorus and phosphate metabolism. What are the other actions? The administration of extreme quantities of vitamin D causes absorption of the bone. In the absence of vitamin D, the effect of parathyroid hormone in causing bone absorption is greatly reduced. So they are going side by side. Vitamin D in smaller quantities promotes the bone calcification also. These results are due to the effect of 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol to increase the calcium transport through the cellular membrane. With this, we complete our introduction about the bone mattress and the vitamin D3, that is the active form of the vitamin D. So, which is mainly controlling the calcium and the phosphate metabolism. So, okay, thank you very much and Allah Hafiz.